Hello and welcome back to Discovering the Bible podcast. I'm Sarah Thomas, and with me, as always, is our beautiful Pastor Holly Howard.
Hi, welcome. We're glad to be back for another round.
Oh yeah, we're both wearing our fall colors
Oh my
today.
gosh, we matched.
We didn't even plan this. So
I didn't even notice.
You were like focused.
I was. We had to get this set up and get this rolling.
Exactly. Well, we're really excited to record this. I know everyone's been enjoying from the feedback that we've had about discovering different ways of studying the Bible so far. I'm excited to see what we're learning today. I know personally so far the Picture It method has been my favorite. So if you haven't listened to the rest of the series on the 40 Days in the Word workbook
let's
by
hold
Rick
it up
Warren.
so you can see we're still doing this right here. Yeah, 40 Days in the Word by Rick Warren.
Check it out. It's been amazing. So many different ways of studying the Bible. So let's get into it today. What are we learning today, Holly?
So we're still going to do yet another one of the Picture It methods. I believe that was my favorite week out of the Bible study.
Yeah.
And so we are going to look at Mark 3, verses 1 through 6, and it's the story where Jesus heals a man with a shriveled hand. It's that account. So Mark 3, 1 through 6, I'm going to read the scripture to you. It says, "He entered a synagogue again, and a man was there whose hand was withered. And they were watching him closely to see if he would heal him on the Sabbath, so that they might accuse him. He said to the man with the withered hand, 'Get up and come forward.' And he," that's Jesus, "said to them, 'Is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath or to do harm, to save a life or to kill?' But they kept silent. After looking around at them with anger, grieved at their hardness of heart, he said to the man, 'Stretch out your hand.' And he stretched it out, and his hand was restored. The Pharisees went out and immediately began conspiring with the Herodians against him as to how they might put him to death." So we have this account, and with the Picture It method, you try to picture yourself, just for a brief recap, on put myself in each of the characters listed, each of the people that are in the story. Put yourself in their situation and picture yourself as those people. So let's start first. We're going to picture ourselves as Jesus. So Jesus in this situation. Sarah, tell me, okay, out of this story, Jesus goes into in the synagogue, and there's Pharisees are standing around, and if you're Jesus, you know what they're already thinking, right? Yeah. He knows, and they're watching closely to see what Jesus is going to do because it's the Sabbath. They're trying to trap Jesus and find Jesus into committing a sin, doing something wrong, and so Jesus sees a man with a withered hand. And he heals the man with the withered hand. And the Bible says after looking around at them with, at anger, Jesus is angry at them, and he's grieved at their hardness of heart. So picture yourself as Jesus. How would you feel if you were Jesus? That's kind of hard to do.
I know, I'm like, yes.
I'm really hard
Perfect
to think of myself
in every
as
way.
Jesus. Okay, so maybe the Picture It method doesn't work very well with Jesus. But what would you think?
Well, to start off with, already, if I'm Jesus, I'm seeing someone broken. I'm having compassion towards him, and the love for him outweighs what the Pharisees are feeling towards me. And I know that. But, so I go in looking to and seeing this person I love that can receive healing and fullness, having compassion towards him and wanting to heal him. Then on the other hand, it's good to know Jesus felt angry. Because, sometimes you feel angry. Yes. But the anger he felt was towards the wrong of the Pharisees. So it was a righteous anger of not, so that, there's a difference there, obviously.
It was obviously an anger in which he didn't sin.
Exactly.
There's a difference, right?
So that's good to know that you can do that.
The Bible says, be angry, but sin not. So it's not the feeling of anger that is wrong, right?
Exactly.
It's what we do, our actions in the anger that is wrong.
So that's already a good, realization for me there. But so I'm looking at this person I love. The Pharisees are obviously judging me, waiting for me to do something. But the feeling of love and compassion far outweighs what they can say to me or do to me. And so I, not in spite of them, but for the love of this person, I heal them. And so that's, even though I know that they're going to say bad things about me and do harm toward me, the love I have for this person outweighs all of that.
The consequences of what their actions are going to be.
Yeah, and so you just feel Jesus' love despite what people might say about you or do to you in this passage, which again just makes me just so grateful that he's willing to do anything for, he was willing to do anything for just one person, even if that meant immediate consequences for him.
Yeah. So when I try to picture myself as Jesus inserted in this historical account, it's not just a story. This really happened. This is history. I get angry at the legalistic crowd. I can picture myself being angry at the Pharisees over their legalism and caring more about their traditions and man-made rules and regulations over the actual condition or the hurt and the pain of another human being. And so I can see why Jesus was so angry at the Pharisees, because they cared more about their law, quote unquote, and their traditions and what they did in church than they did about the poor soul who needed a miracle that came to their church. And so I can relate more to Jesus being angry at them for getting so caught up in the traditions of men that they overlook the need of a person, someone hurting, someone who needs deliverance or healing. And they didn't care about the man with the withered hand. How do you elevate your tradition, how you do church or whatever, above the need of a human being? And so I can relate to Jesus being angry. So that's what I see. So let's picture ourselves as the man with the shriveled hand now. You're him. And, what do you think as the man with the shriveled hand? You picture yourself in his story. You're looking at, he's here. He's in a church service. He's in the synagogue. You feel the tension when Jesus walks in the room between the Pharisees and Jesus. So you ever been in a room and you could cut the tension with a knife? I picture that it had to be like that. You ever been in a church service where you knew there was something like what? Or you walk into somebody's house, you've been invited over for dinner or whatever, and you walk in to the home and you're like, okay, this couple just had a knockdown, drag, total knockdown fight. Like, right? There is like, ooh, this feels awkward. Okay. Yep. So maybe I don't know. I'm just picturing, what's it like? There's tension in the room. This man, we don't know how long he's had a shriveled hand, but he's got a handicap. He's got a condition that robs him of a good life. And Jesus is like, okay, there's all this tension in the room, and he tells this man in the midst of all this tension, get over here. Get up and come to me. Okay? And so would you do it? And then, knowing that this tension is in the room, he tells the man, get up. He tells the man, stretch out your hand, and he does it. And then he heals him right there in front of everybody. So if you're the man with the withered hand, you're in that situation, picture yourself. What does it feel like?
Well, I'm already self-conscious.
Okay.
I'm already feeling ashamed of my being there because I'm different.
Oh my gosh, wow. I've not thought of that. See how fun this is to do this?
So much fun, yeah. So, you're already feeling ashamed, and because probably if you read the Bible, they're probably saying there's some secret sin, or, he did something, or, because his deformity is, not, normal. So he's already feeling pretty out of place and ashamed of being there, because people are talking about him, like, oh my God, look at that guy. And then here comes Jesus, and Jesus calls him out, and he's like, no, he's already like, I just wanted to be here. I just wanted to experience this, and I don't want to be called out. I don't want to be, in the center of attention.
Dare you tell me to raise my hand if I want to be saved in church? Are you kidding me?
Don't call me out. I just want to be back here.
How dare you tell me to come up to the altar?
And, but I can't help but think how he felt after he was healed. The final step of showing everyone, like, see, it wasn't something I did, or, this, and who is this man that just completely healed me of all of the hardship that I've experienced. So, he went from feeling ashamed to embarrassed to healed.
Wow.
And so that's how I would feel of that man if I was him.
Isn't that something, how you look at a lens through the perspective of how you can relate to things when you insert yourself into this story? And I love that. I've never thought of the fact that he would be ashamed because of the condition of his hand.
Yeah.
He would be ashamed or embarrassed to be called out. And so I pictured it as, gosh, I'm asking myself, what would it feel like to be helpless?
Yeah.
Have I ever been incapacitated in an area in my life? And the other thing I thought about is, would I be obedient if Jesus tells me to act on something? Because this guy had to get up in front of a bunch of disapproving, hard-hearted, their hearts were totally hardened in front of people. So, and how do I get up in front of a bunch of disapproving and hardened people? Would I come to Jesus even if it was not popular?
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I picture if I'm in the man with the shriveled hand and I've got a condition, something in my life that's incapacitating me. I've got a great need in my life, and can I get desperate enough to not care what people around me think and still in front of an angry mob, disapproving mob of people, go against the grain of culture and still come to Jesus and be willing to do whatever it takes to get my helpless situation healed?
Well, yeah, and I think that's why a lot of people have a hard time coming to the church building or coming to church, because they're like, I don't know, like, I've done all this, I've been told this my whole life. How can Jesus ever make anything better?
Yeah, and so, you know, you got somebody who, we read these stories and we don't ever picture ourselves like, what's it like? And then, oh, it's so irrelevant. Actually, no, it's not irrelevant at all, because I can put myself in every one of these character situations. So let's be a Pharisee now. Now let's take our turn. We never want to say that we're the legalistic Pharisee. Nobody ever wants to do that. We never want to be that guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
But let's try to picture ourselves as that guy. All right, you're the Pharisee.
Be that guy.
You be that guy. Can you picture yourself as the Pharisee?
So I'm looking at Jesus. Well, I'm looking at this guy with, a withered hand, and I'm like, he's done something wrong. There's some secret sin that's been passed by, or he's done something. We need to stay away from him. That's too much. You need to be in here cleansed and looking good. Don't talk to me. I'm going to stay over here. It's the Sabbath, so I'm keeping all of my Sabbath rules and doing the best I can. And then here comes Jesus, and I'm like, oh, this guy. And, I'm immediately already judging him. I'm already ready to, go after him because of my preconceived ideas and laws that I've followed my whole life that I've been told are right. So immediately I'm casting judgment on someone because of something I've grown up with. Something that I've studied hours and hours and hours on, because they would be able to recite it left and right.
Oh, yeah.
It's all they did. It consumed their whole life with studying the law back then, and here comes Jesus ready to overthrow everything.
Yeah, you hit a good point there. One of the things we don't know about the Bible, and this is a little nugget, to be a Pharisee, you had to memorize the Torah.
Yeah, I'm like...
Memorize. I don't have the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible, memorized.
Yeah, and that's
5 books.
all they did.
Books. I'm not talking about 1 or 2 verses. I mean,
yeah.
the things that it was required, and you're raised from infancy and trained as a Pharisee and ingrained in a culture. And so I love what Rick Warren says in this Bible study. Knowledge is actually of the Bible can actually be detrimental if you don't apply its principles.
Yeah.
You go in and start digging in the Bible and trying to learn it, but then you don't do what it says. It actually can be excessively harmful because you become like a Pharisee.
And that's exactly it. I put myself in this position of, well, the Bible says this, don't do that. Or, the Bible and, this book on this scripture said that. And I don't, apply the love. And I didn't apply the knowledge of who God is to Jesus.
Yeah.
And so, I'm sitting back here ready to post on Twitter about this guy. Like, I'm ready. I'm about to press send and hit the character limit on Jesus. So, just even thinking of that, makes me, I already feel like just hardened thinking about being a Pharisee. But at the same time, I'm like, how many times have I done that to someone?
Probably more than we care to admit.
Really? I'm like, oh, wait, I totally thought about that about someone in the church before. You're like, well, if you didn't do that, or you know what I mean? And so, kind of makes you feel icky.
Kind of makes you feel like a bag of dirt.
Yeah. So you talk. I'm done. We're gonna be talking about my.
I think the same thing. When I picture the Pharisee, the same way that you do, and are you disturbed when Jesus breaks religious rules or does something out of the ordinary? Ooh. Think about that. Have I ever in my life been more concerned about the rules and how I do church, or the rules of my religious thinking, and been more concerned about that than I was about a person? Have I actually put rules above a person? Can I be in a setting where I am not seeing the people? Ooh. I'm not seeing the need of that person. So have you ever heard this, that hurting people hurt others?
Oh yeah, I've heard that.
How many times have we been in a situation where someone was so difficult to deal with? I don't know. Maybe it's a boss. Maybe it's a friend. Maybe it's a neighbor. Maybe it's a relative, and they are just so anal. And have I ever become a Pharisee and taken up my right to be angry over truly seeing, why are they so angry?
That's tough.
Why are they so bitter? What's caused the shriveled hand in their life? Ooh. What's caused them to get to a place? And can I not be a Pharisee and lower my pride, lower what I think I have a right to, my traditions or my preferences? Because in reality, it was all about their culture, their way of life, their preference. It's actually a very selfish stance. And can I lower all that and forget about that? And can I really see the heart of what's causing this person? Why did he have a withered hand?
Yeah.
How does it feel to be hurt? Can I actually have empathy for someone else in their condition, even if what they're doing is hurting me or going against the grain of what I think they should act or how I think they should be? So
that's good.
In reality, I think every one of us actually have been the Pharisee, and we're the Pharisee more than we are Jesus. And, I think we can all relate to the man with the shriveled hand, because everybody's been hurt, or we've all had a situation in our life that we felt helpless to do anything about, helpless to control. Right. But so then we move on to, okay, so how do I apply this? And my thing was, can I go against the culture around me?
Yeah.
Am I willing to take the scrutiny of the crowd? Can I take the heat and go against the grain in order to get free from the things that have me helpless?
Yeah.
Think about that. The culture around us is not friendly towards being a believer and following Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. Our culture is actually very hostile towards that. So can I go against the grain? Can I stand up in a crowd? Can I do what Jesus told me to do? Can I act? If Jesus tells me to do something, will I do it? Am I going to be able to have the boldness to stand up for what I believe in? No. I mean, think about these things and how you can apply just being the man with the shriveled hand. Am I going to lower my selfishness, lower my right? I have a right to be offended. Am I going to let go of some of these things and truly see a person for what they really are? Can I really listen and hear their side? Oh, boy, that hurts right now.
Ooh.
Can I? Can I do that?
Yeah.
Am I going to stop being a Pharisee? Can I be Jesus and just love people? Truly love people and lay down my life for a friend? I mean, it's funny how every story can almost just come down to one of selfishness. And will I act and will I be obedient to Jesus if he tells me
Right.
Stretch out your hand. If he tells me, I don't care if everything in the world around you, if everybody's doing that, I said, come to me.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to stand out in the crowd. Ooh.
Yeah.
Can I stand out? Can I go against the grain of culture? Will I come to Jesus? If he said, stretch out your hand, if he tells you to do something, will you do it? Will you be obedient to it?
That's tough.
That, in a nutshell, is the picture it method for Mark 3, 1 through 6.
Well, now I'm gonna go. Now I'm gonna have things to think about when I go home. I mean, that's so true, especially in a culture where you see everyone's opinion online, and you're like, I have to go to church with that guy. You know, and even if they're not in church, especially those in church, can I look at this person and truly love them, even if they're going against things that I believe are right? Or, you know, and vice versa. And so it's so good and such a timely thing to think about. Can I stand against the crowd and love my neighbor?
Yeah, my prayer is, Lord, give me this man's boldness.
Yeah.
I think, if anything, I come back mostly to the man with the shriveled hand for me.
Yeah.
And what I felt the Lord really speaking to me the most, and I wrote this in my prayer, Lord, give me this man's boldness to stand up for what I believe in unashamedly.
That's so good.
I don't want to be ashamed of Jesus.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure this man went around telling everybody what happened.
Oh, yeah, I would.
Who are you sharing your story of freedom with? Are you ashamed to share Jesus with other people? I hope we aren't. We got to get past this. Just because we live in a world hostile towards Jesus Christ doesn't mean we should shut our mouth. No. We should proclaim his goodness all the more loudly. So my prayer was, Lord, give me the boldness to be like this man and to come to Jesus, to stand up in the middle of hostility and do what you're calling me, what you're telling me to do.
So good. Well, thank you, Holly. That has been a really awesome time together today. So that's another example of the Picture It method. Take that when you're studying your word this week. If you want to pick up this this study workbook, we'll link it in the description below, like we have been. And there's also the YouVersion, which we'll link as well if you just want to kind of test it out. But check out the other ones in this series. Share this with a friend. Our prayer is that this really helped you this week and that you can share it with someone and share Jesus with someone this week.
Yes. Yeah. Who can you share your story with this week?
Because
don't be ashamed.
Yeah, because if you pray, God will open a door, and you will know when that time is there.
Yes, He will.
So thank you for listening, and we will see you real soon.
Bye.
Bye-bye.